So what if I told you that you could launch a real, money-making business this weekend? Not in a year, not after you finish that other course, but in the next 48 hours. It sounds kind of crazy, right? Well, that is the huge promise from Noah Kagan's book, $1 Million Weekend. And in this explainer, we're going to break down exactly how this blueprint works.
Think about it. You've got that dream, that idea, the one where you're finally your own boss, building something that actually matters to you. But for so many of us, it just stays a dream. You know, it's like you're at the starting line of a race. You're ready to go, but your feet just feel like they're cemented to the ground. What's going on there?
I'm betting some of these sound really familiar. Kagan calls this the wall of excuses. And it's that little voice in our head that's always got a reason why today isn't the day. You're not ready, you're not smart enough, you just need a little more research. These are the thoughts that keep would-be entrepreneurs trapped in this cycle of just preparing forever.
Okay, so here's the game plan for how we're going to smash through that wall. We'll start by really understanding the fear. Then we'll look at the mindset you need to beat it. After that, we'll walk through the actual 48-hour blueprint, talk about what comes next, get a quick reality check on the blind spots, and then leave you with your very first experiment.
First things first, let's get to the real root of this whole problem. This feeling of being stuck, this starting line paralysis, it's not actually about not having a good idea or enough time. Nope, it goes a lot deeper than that. According to the book, it all boils down to these two things. First, the fear of starting. This is the big one, the belief that becoming an entrepreneur is this giant, terrifying leap of faith. And second, there's the fear of asking, that gut-wrenching feeling when you think about hearing the word no. That's what stops you from actually selling, from asking for help, from moving forward. These two are the real villains in our story.
So if fear is the disease, what's the cure? Well, Kagan argues that it's not about having the world's most perfect business plan. It's about a choice. It's about choosing courage over the comfort of doing nothing. And this right here is the core mindset shift. Now, not how. It is such a simple but powerful idea. Basically, stop worrying about step 50. Stop trying to figure out how you're going to scale to $1 million. The only question you need to ask yourself is this: what is the tiniest, simplest thing I can do right now to move forward? That's it. This focus on the immediate creates momentum. And believe me, momentum is the ultimate fear killer.
Okay, so to put this into practice, Kagan gives us a really simple but kind of genius mission. It's designed to build up what he calls your ask muscle, and it's something you can literally go do today. Now listen, this is the really clever part. The goal is not to get the discount. The goal is just to ask. More often than not, they're going to look at you funny and say no, and that's the whole point. It's exposure therapy for rejection. It proves that hearing no isn't the end of the world. It's just information. This one simple act starts to rewire your brain, making that big, bad fear of asking feel a whole lot smaller.
All right, before we jump into the weekend plan, you need a target, a real one. This is what Kagan calls your freedom number. It's not some vague dream like, I want to be rich. No, it's the exact dollar amount you need to make every month to cover your bills and quit your job if you want to. This takes the dream out of the clouds and makes it a real, tangible number you can actually aim for.
Okay, so our mindset is right, we've got our target. Let's get to the main event, the step-by-step process for turning nothing into actual money in one weekend.
The blueprint is just beautifully simple, and it totally flips the old way of thinking on its head. See, you don't start with a brilliant idea for a product. You start by finding a real problem, a pain point that people are already complaining about. Then you put together a simple solution. And finally, the most important part, you test it immediately with the 48-hour money challenge.
This slide is where the magic really happens. Your entire goal for the weekend is to get 3 people to pay you. That's it. And the rules are everything. Rule 1, you spend absolutely no money. 0. Rule 2, you pre-sell. You get paid before you build anything. This is the only validation that matters, because if people won't give you money for the idea, they sure aren't going to give you money for the finished thing. And hey, if you get 0 sales, that's a victorious failure. You learned your idea doesn't work in 48 hours without losing a single dime. That's a huge win.
So, you did it. You made a few sales, you survived the weekend. Now what? The book is mostly about getting you started, but it does give us a quick, powerful way to think about what comes next: building your growth engine.
The philosophy here is super straightforward. Think of it like this. You use free platforms like social media to grab attention and build an audience. That's how you grow. But you never want to build your entire house on rented land, right? The real long-term profit comes from moving that audience over to an email list, a platform that you actually own, where you can talk directly to your customers.
Okay, but let's be real for a second. Any good explainer has to look at the whole picture. And while the launch in a weekend idea is an amazing way to get started, it's really important we talk about some of the potential blind spots. So while the premise is brilliant for breaking that initial inertia, some critics point out that it can kind of gloss over the long, hard grind of building a real business. The journey from those first 3 sales to $1 million, well, that's a marathon, not a weekend sprint. It involves dealing with competition, scaling up, and a ton of hard work that goes way beyond those first 48 hours.
So how do we square this incredible promise with that tough reality? Well, let's pull it all together and figure out what the real, actionable takeaway from all this should be.
Here's the best way to think about this book. It's the ultimate starting kit. It is not a guaranteed treasure map to becoming a millionaire. What it is a powerful, totally risk-free set of tools designed to do one thing perfectly: cure that starting line paralysis and give you a way to test your ideas fast. Its real genius is in getting you to just run that first experiment.
And there's a quote Kagan actually uses in the book from Steve Jobs that just nails the whole spirit of this thing. He said, "Most people never pick up the phone. Most people never ask. You gotta act, and you gotta be willing to fail." Sometimes that's really all it comes down to. The difference between the dreamers and the doers is just that willingness to ask.
Which leaves us with one last question for you. Forget about $1 million business for a second. Forget about scaling and all that. What is one tiny, super low-stakes experiment you can run this weekend to test a small idea, solve a tiny problem, or maybe just practice the art of asking?